Well, hello again. I've got this mess to clear up still. And that mess. I'm going to put these behind the shed. Appears to me this stuff might make a good climbing trellis. You may notice I'm wearing pajamas. Normally when I work in the yard, I don't care to dress up. Pajamas breathe a heck of a lot better than pants and a shirt. Since this is the last video, I don't know if anyone's anxious to see me in pajamas, but now you can. Say last video, it's the last video I planned to make. But plans change. No one can predict the city of Minneapolis. They may decide I need to tear down my garage or something. Who knows? Now I have a really long pole. It'll fall apart really easily if I try and do anything with it. I know. This is a really bad idea. No one will ever think to look for it there. Least of all me. Okay. Oh look. A blade of grass. How did I miss you? I wasn't looking for you. Okay. Get out the fancy lawnmower. Mow the fancy lawn. Mowing with it is kind of like pushing a motorcycle around the yard by hand. Okay, so I've gotten to the point where I can't tell where I've mowed and where I haven't. So I'm going to stop. There's this line to stop. I think that's going to be it for now. See what the city says. Actually, they probably won't say anything until they come. Can't pack this up in the car again because my wife's got the car at the moment, so back in the shed for the moment. If this keeps happening, pretty soon I'm going to be in the market for a new lawnmower. I don't suppose there's such a thing as a Roomba for your lawn. I mean, vacuum cleaners only cost, 80 bucks. So, $250 for a Roomba that does it for you, especially when you don't have carpet, doesn't seem very reasonable, but it only adds a couple $100 to the price of it. It might be worth having a mower Roomba. Goes and plugs itself in the garage, and then comes out and does all the mowing for you. I mean, that's a lot of effort to push that around. That battery could certainly handle it. And plus it would be lighter if it didn't have to have a handle, and it wouldn't run into nearly as much stuff. So whoever it was who made the Roomba, why don't you just make a self-riding lawnmower, huh? You call it the Lawnba or something. Hello, Gabe here again. Well, we got another letter from the city. Apparently I did a good enough job mowing and weeding the lawn for them. We'll see how long it remains good enough for them. I don't really intend to weed it all until they tell me I have to again, except the garden, which of course I had to neglect in order to weed the rest of the yard where weeds don't matter like they do in the garden, but the city has other concerns. And this is one of them, the brush pile. I kind of predicted that this would happen. The city does not like piles of brush. Now there are many solutions to this problem. The city will come and pick it up if I cut it into 3-foot segments and tie it up nicely and set it out by the curb. They'll just come take it away. Like I said in my video, what's the point of shipping all of this to some recycling facility? A bunch of it's black walnut too, so I mean if they're making compost out of it, that compost will kill any tomatoes or potatoes or nightshades, but there are a number of other plants too that it'll just kill if you try and use it on them. I hope they know that, but I mean, they seem to be determined to treat me like an idiot who doesn't know, what's important to me in my own yard, what's important in general, so I see no reason why I shouldn't treat them like idiots and assume that they don't know about black walnuts.
It's actually makes me feel kind of good about this. One of the few things that makes me feel good about anything to do with my yard anymore, now that the city's had a look at it. But the point is that then, like, what's the point of shipping all this to some recycling facility and then me buying wood for my fire pit, especially when the wood for my fire pit comes, about this big and about this big. And we use our fire pit for cooking, try and keep a constant fire in a small fire pit. The largest fire pit you can have in the city is 3 feet wide. Trying to keep a constant fire in a fire pit that small and to cook over with big-ass logs is a pain in the ass. It really is. So I would much rather have these nice small pieces of wood that I can feed in on a more regular basis and keep the fire at a more regular temperature. But apparently it's dangerous, I'm sure that some brush pile at some point caught fire, got struck by lightning, got set on fire by some neighborhood arsonist or something and burned somebody's house down. I'm sure it happened, But if we ban everything dangerous in this world, we'd ban a lot of useful things. This brush pile is useful. A knife is useful. Scissors are useful. Hell, explosives are useful. And they're regulated, but the point is that all of these things that are dangerous also have legitimate uses. And if we ban all of them, then pretty soon we'll be left with nothing. Why is this banned and knives and scissors are not banned? I'll tell you why. Because you keep knives and scissors inside your house. This is outside where the city can get to it. If the city can get to it and see it, then I guess they feel like they're responsible if they don't take care of it. But the fact is, it's my wood and I want it. So what am I going to do? I could put it inside the house where they can't get at it, or inside my garage where they can't get at it. But the fact is that the city is stupid in a lot of ways, and one of these ways is that this yard and that yard are separate yards. The person who marked them down on a piece of paper may not have even known the names of the people who own this yard and know that this is, in fact, owned by the same people who own that yard. So we're going to test this. We're just going to move the brush pile to the other side of the fence and see if they notice, see if they care. After all, that yard is supposedly clean. We haven't got any letters about that yard, so they may not even look at that yard when they come back. Now, this is vines. I could go to the trouble of cutting this up, but frankly, this is a lot less trouble. Now it's not a pile anymore. That's over there. And this bit is way over there. Not a pile. That bit was a bit big. I think we should split it up. Oh, I forgot to tell you where these came from. So you remember over where I was pulling up the thistles? I'll show you this later if you want. Now, I'm assuming that the city did not do this because they would have done a more thorough job. In fact, I'm also assuming it wasn't somebody hired to do it by my neighbors. I think it was my neighbors freaked out about the thought of maybe having to pay a fine, but they killed a bunch of my grapevines. Admittedly, they're their grapevines too. They grow up on the fence. They grow up out of my yard, but they grow up over the fence. They have every right to cut them down, but they hadn't bothered before. So the city came along. Okay, that's the vines, which I really don't care about. They are now spread out all over my lawn, and I will just mow them down next time I mow the lawn. And within a few, weeks, they won't even be noticeable. Going right here. Most of this I chopped up. I didn't show you that video, just so that it wasn't laying all over the yard. But some of the stuff on this half of the pile I haven't messed with yet. So, man, having to go get the pruning shears and mess with this stuff. So, though it's only been a week, most of it has dried out enough that I can just snap the small things in half by hand, which makes things so much easier. Now this is just step one of the process. If they come back, notice the pile over there, and mark it down on their little sheet and send me another letter. Remember the tent? I still have the tent. It's kind of deflated over there, but I think I could fill the tent with wood again if I had to. This is also kind of strategic. I'm putting the small pieces on the bottom. By putting them on the bottom, I will stack the larger wood on top, so it looks like it's a stack of wood rather than brush. Not that I expect them to necessarily like it for that. I believe that wood is supposed to still be larger than these pieces of wood before it can be stacked, large enough to make it mainly and basically unusable in our fire pit for the purposes that we use our fire pit for. Now, as you can see, I'm working out in the sun. I probably should wait till later, but I have other things planned this evening, so I'm going to go get a hat. Hopefully that will be enough and I won't actually have to put on sunscreen. I don't like hats. I don't own very many hats. I don't look good in most hats. Hey, hat. I was going to grab the clippers too, but my wife moved them somewhere. Didn't tell me where she moved them. She makes fun of me that I can't see anything when she moves it. I just can't find things. But, I don't know, one of these days maybe I'll make a video of me moving all of her stuff and then see if she can find anything. Nice big logs I'm saving for later. So I mentioned this a little bit in the other videos. You may think in these videos that I'm some kind of anti-government crank, you know? I absolutely hate all forms of government because they are oppressive. I am not. Government does a lot of good things. This isn't one of them, but they do a lot of good things, and on the whole, I think it's probably better that we have government rather than, I don't know, corporations running the whole world. If you have big corporations, you need big government to counterbalance them. Not that they always do, but it's your only hope. You certainly ain't going to be able to on your own. So what do I think is the problem here, you know, and do I have any solutions for it, or am I just going to complain? Well, so here's what I think the problem is. Obviously, I'm not inside city government, so I don't know why shit like this happens. I could go to an awful lot of community meetings, but that would mean spending an awful lot more time just trying to not have to spend time on my lawn. So, I mean, that's kind of... that's not a solution for me, anyway. Maybe it's for you. This is what I think is going on. You ever seen Iron Giant? If you haven't, you should. It's a really good movie. The villain in Iron Giant is named Kent Mansley. And this is his shtick. Well, if it were applied to, say, brush piles. Brush is a problem. And the citizens want to know that the government has a response. I am that response. Kent Mansley. I work for the government. So, if you've seen the movie, you know that Kent Mansley deserves to be fired several times over. In fact, he's kind of desperate to be useful at all, and that's really his problem right there. You know, he's desperate to be useful, and he's incompetent, and so he tries so hard and fails so hard. Well, it's the Kent Mansleys. They get yes. How government tends to handle, but doesn't have to handle people like Kent Mansley. That's the problem here. What they obviously should do is just fire them. But instead what tends to happen is they get demoted to the lowest positions available, the least important positions available, the least high-profile positions available, positions where they have to walk through people's yards and tally up all of their minor violations. And of course they don't want these positions, they want something bigger, more important. So they make as much of a nuisance of themselves as they can without actually doing a bad job. They do their jobs to the T. They mark absolutely every violation, even minor ones that probably aren't really a problem. They make sure that laws get enforced. Laws that were probably put in place to punish the worst actors get applied to everybody. They just make themselves as annoying as they possibly can. And that there is the problem. It's the Kent Mansleys of the world that lead to me having to do crap like this. So if you work for the government, there's a guy working for you who you're afraid to fire because you don't know what the hell he might do, fire him anyway. Either that, or I would rather the Kent Mansleys of the world were being paid to do absolutely nothing than that they were being paid to come look at my lawn. I would prefer government waste to government stupidity any day. And if you are a Kent Mansley, don't go to work in the government. Don't, in general, go to work in the government thinking that it's going to make you an important person. Because that's not what the government is for. It's not there for your career. It's there for the people. Go work for some corporation or something. They love people who are only out for themselves. In fact, if you aren't at least somewhat out for yourselves, they probably won't hire you in the first place. Virginia Creeper.